It really was like something out of a horror movie. I have no idea why I got the idea, but I was bored. My 12-year-old son was bored, and so Doc and the dude, we decided to travel from Orlando down to the southern tip of Florida, but on the western side versus the eastern side where the Keys are, because we already been down there. I had heard that if you got all the way down to Everglades City, you would see, these 10,000 islands that were out there. You would see the marshy areas and the mixture of the fresh and the salt water and the crocodiles and the alligators and anacondas and black panthers and pretty much anything and everything scary and creepy about Florida could be discovered in the Everglades. The Everglades, in case you're curious, are huge. They're like this 1.5 million acres of this incredibly fragile ecosystem that spreads out from South Florida, really from Naples to Miami, and kind of actually goes up to Lake Okeechobee, and some people say even creeps in a little bit into Orlando. It used to be an impenetrable place. Matter of fact, the Seminole Indians called it Pehokee. The 1.5 million acres of a fragile ecosystem. The Everglades National Park, which is kind of based at the south, comprises just a small area of 800 square miles. And so my son and I decided that we would drive down to the Everglades National Park, go for an airboat ride, check it out, kind of maybe walk into the Everglades a little bit, because I had all these images of what it was like. So before I got there, I thought there was this vast land of razor grass, right? And you'd have to sort of navigate through, and if you walked by, it would like slice off pieces of your skin, and you'd be bleeding, and there'd be bugs and mosquitoes, killer bees, just things zooming all around. Well, we decided to make the trip. We got in the truck, drove down. As we got about an hour and a half from Everglades City, it got dark, and we got off the beaten path on this little 2-lane road. And it really was like something out of a horror movie when we got to that point, because it was pitch black. It was also humid, slightly raining, and so the truck kept fogging up, and we're battling that. There's like this scary, creepy mist coming up off the road, and it just got that vibe like something was about to get you. We were driving down, and we were talking about things that probably you don't talk about in the scary evening. We kept thinking, what happens if we get a flat tire? Because the little road that took us for, almost 100 miles was just a little 2-lane road. And off to the side, it just dropped down, and there was like water and swamp. So if you got too far off the road, into the swamp. And part of the swamp on the covering had all green, and so it looked like grass. So it was just creepy. You didn't want to get out, step into that, sink down. You also didn't know where the crocodiles were. You didn't know where the alligators were. And so if you had a fertile imagination, which, believe it or not, the dude and I, we have pretty fertile imaginations, you could imagine pretty much anything coming out to get you. So we were driving down, and in just this one particular place, it looked kind of creepy, and the dude was looking out the window, and I got this thought. Sometimes you have these thoughts as parents that you think, oh, this would be really cool, but you really shouldn't do it, but I had to. So I reached out and went, bah! And my son about hit the roof, turned white. I freaked him out. And from that moment on, I was freaked out. He was freaked out. And now we're on this journey into the Everglades. Pitch black night. We're driving down this road, can't really see. We make a turn, and there's this little red building over there with this orange light glowing, and it said, Devil's Garden. Great! Just when you're already spooked, you see something like that and you think, I just want to get out of here. There was nothing out there. No places to stop. There wasn't even a place alongside the road to stop. Nothing. We drove and drove and drove. Eventually we found a gas station that was closed. That was really comforting. We kept driving, and eventually we then came into the little Everglades city. A big metropolis of 400 people. Luckily, there was one gas station open. We pulled in, got gas, found a little dinky hotel, stayed the night. My son told me he was so stiff from being scared that we didn't know what to do. Well, the next morning we got up, went on an airboat ride, which was pretty cool. And then we drove to this little Indian village that was closed, unfortunately, but beside it was this path. We decided to walk on the path. So we're walking through the Everglades on the path by the Indian village, dodging alligators, snakes, all kinds of creepy stuff because the water is right there and there's signs that say watch out for the alligators, watch out for poisonous spiders, and all kinds of cool stuff. As you can tell, the path was a little bit creepy. By the time we got back from that path, we were covered in sweat, totally freaked out, pretty sure we had contacted the Zika virus. So we're walking down this adventuresome trail into the middle of the Everglades. We come looking for things, battling mosquitoes and all kinds of funky things, and this is how desperate they are to entertain you. Beware of the dead tree. We bounce off and continue into nothingness, but escaped death in no uncertain terms. So, the moral of the story is, if you go down to South Florida, make sure you bring a bazooka, because the Everglades are creepy. But hey, we survived. So we're going to look for some kind of badge because, hey, now we're cool. Anyhow, thanks for checking out Simple Hobo, the wonderful stories that we have to tell about faith, hope, and love, and sometimes a little bit of humor thrown in there. This is Doc saying so long. Peace out.